Hey guys, what's up? This is Diego here at Cinemageddon Reviews. I'm back with another spoiler analysis video. I haven't done one of these in a while, and you guys seem to respond pretty well to these when I do. In the past, I've covered the Disney Plus series The Falcon and the Winter Soldier, the gritty crime thriller Training Day, and the cerebral Netflix film The Devil All the Time. But this time, I wanted to come back to the series and give you something even more challenging. Something that challenges not only your mind, but also your sanity, your lungs, and most importantly, your eyes. Only one film can do that, and that film is, of course, The Room. Now you may think The Room is a stupid movie. You may think it only tries to be a deep film. You may think Tommy Wiseau didn't know how filmmaking works when he made it. Anyway, without further ado, let's dive into the only film in cinematic history that has been called both glorious and horrifying by critics all over. And of course, since this is such a sought-after and critically acclaimed film, I must warn you that this is going to contain heavy spoilers. If you're one of those people that have been dying to see The Room but haven't had the chance, this is your chance now to turn this video off before it's too late. Just like it was for me. So let me start this review off with a quote that in my mind accurately sums up the theme of The Room. It's a quote by a wise man named Nestor Alexander Hathaway. "What is love? Baby, don't hurt me. Don't hurt me no more." Now, trust me, you laugh now, but I'm actually not messing with you, just bear with me here. Now, The Room poses a lot of questions to the audience. Questions like, what the fuck? And why am I watching this? And whatever happened to Lisa's mom's breast cancer? But the first question we're going to tackle today is, what happens in a room? Sure, a room has windows, doors, walls, framed pictures of spoons, weird architecture, in some cases even a spiral staircase to have sex on. But filmmaking genius Tommy Wiseau does provide an answer, even if it's not readily apparent. And the answer is life. Life is what happens in a room. People come and go. Others stay. They feel emotions, they say things, and life goes on. And if you don't understand what I'm saying, that's too bad. Which brings us to the plot. Meet Johnny, a good old-fashioned all-American man who has the perfect life. He works at a bank, loves football, has lots of money, a ton of weird friends, and a beautiful future wife named Lisa, who is also a cheating bitch, and who also thinks scotch and vodka are a good combination.
If you love me, you'll drink this.
One of the first things we learn about Johnny and Lisa's relationship is that it's very materialistic. Johnny constantly spoils Lisa with gifts and money, supporting her and worshipping her, despite her not doing the same for him. It's obvious that Johnny loves Lisa because of the multiple sex scenes that reuse the same footage and play out for the entire length of the songs playing in the background. However, Lisa gets fed up with Johnny because she's bored of him, despite all he has to offer her, like dresses, roses, and belly button sex. Yet despite sound empowering advice from her wise feminist mother,
he supports you, he provides for you, and darling, you can't support yourself.
Lisa decides that instead of honestly communicating with him, she'll seduce his best friend Mark with her expert flirting tactics.
I like you very much. Lover boy.
Over the course of the film, Johnny becomes increasingly aware of Lisa's infidelity, which leads to him getting dirt on Lisa despite hearing her confession with his own ears. And then some other stuff, and then heartbreak, and finally, his suicide. This results in arguably the best film ever made. Yes, even better than Citizen Kane. But just how was this film created, and what does it have to say? The Room, which is produced, written, directed by, and stars Tommy Wiseau, is a masterwork of self-insert romantic drama, and I think Johnny is an excellent protagonist, perhaps one of cinema's greatest. Johnny has no flaws. He makes choices that are unrelatable and defy any emotional logic, and his role in the story is completely passive, with the supporting characters making all the choices that move the story forward instead of him. Only the best protagonists play this small a role in their own stories, like Bella Swan in Twilight. Now the main message of The Room is that there is no greater sin than betrayal. It can destroy the lives of everyone it touches, and cause people to do crazy things, like carry around a tape recorder in their pocket, defile a dress, and make awful chicken impressions.
You betrayed me, you're not good, you're just a chicken. Chip, 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 chip.
By the end of the film, Johnny's life is completely unraveled, and the many perfect things he had going for him are reduced to nothing. As he destroys the apartment and then kills himself, we can only ask,
is he dead?
Look at you two, world's greatest detectives!
It's all portrayed through Wiseau's heart-wrenching performance, filled with gripping dialogue and intense, heartfelt emotion.
You are lying, I never hit you! You are tearing me apart, Lisa!
There's no doubt that a performance this good, this subtle and nuanced, could spawn so many iconic lines, perhaps the most brilliant moment being that iconic rooftop scene.
I did not hit her. It's not true. It's bullshit. I did not hit her. I did not. Oh, hi, Mark.
It's a line that took Wiseau 32 takes to perfect because of how passionate, gifted, and detail-oriented he is, both as an actor and director. This story was Tommy Wiseau's love child, which he originally wrote as a play, and then readapted into a book, and then finally into the film we know today. He spent 3 years, 2 filmmaking crews, and $6 million of his own personal fortune to make it exactly as he wanted. You can easily see his passion and his genius through the small details in the film, such as people throwing a football around in an alley wearing tuxedos, or entire scenes being shot in front of a green screen of the San Francisco skyline instead of the real thing, or transition shots of the Golden Gate Bridge that confuse the audience into thinking Johnny's apartment is on Alcatraz. Multiple scenes contain dialogue that's obviously overdubbed and out of sync with the actors' mouths, expressing tone of voice and emotions that aren't there, which was clearly done to convey the message that people don't always say what they feel.
Here you go.
That's me. How much is it?
It'll be $18.
Here you go. Keep the change. Hi, doggy.
You're my favorite customer.
Thanks a lot. Bye.
But perhaps the best indicator of Tommy Wiseau's filmmaking genius is the design of Johnny and Lisa's apartment, an apartment that is 2 stories tall and has pictures of spoons everywhere. Because only a genius leaves the display photos on store-bought picture frames instead of replacing them with real photos, like a lesser filmmaker. So what does this all indicate? It indicates that life is as random and pointless as we are, that much like these scenes are intercut with random shots of San Francisco, in the grand scheme of things, our lives are lost in the mix of nonsense we call the universe. And there's no other filmmaker that captures this better than Tommy Wiseau.
Genius, genius, genius!
Other messages this movie tackles are explored via the characters that Wiseau introduces throughout the script. Like Denny, a friend of Johnny's who he treats like a son. Denny will constantly show up at random points in the story, masquerading his creepy attention to Lisa behind childlike innocence to get closer to her despite having a girlfriend already. A message about the promiscuity of today's youth.
You look beautiful today. Can I kiss you?
You are such a little brat.
Just kidding. I love you and Johnny.
Claudette, Lisa's mother, whose problems in life, such as breast cancer, her brother trying to steal her house, and her depression brought on by years of loneliness, are constantly overshadowed by Lisa's far greater problems, such as boredom. A message about how your mother's problems are never as important as your own.
I got the results of the test back. I definitely have breast cancer.
Look, don't worry about it. Everything will be fine. They're curing lots of people every day.
I'm sure I'll be all right.
Mike and Michelle, 2 of Lisa and Johnny's friends, who are first introduced when they let themselves into Johnny's apartment when no one else is there to have sex. An obvious message about the importance of door locks.
Did you, know that chocolate is the symbol of love?
Peter, a psychologist, who sits idly by while Johnny's life unravels, and then reappears later in the film recast as a completely different actor, a metaphor for how people change and become unrecognizable over the passage of time, sometimes literally.
I don't think Mark really loves you.
Nobody asked you, Kevin!
And Chris R., a drug dealer who sells drugs, a metaphor for how drugs are bad.
Where's my fucking money, Denny?
Now, because the messages of this film may be too subtle for some audience members, the exquisite writing by Tommy Wiseau constantly reminds us, through Claudette, that what Lisa's doing to Johnny is wrong.
Because I'm in love with Mark, not Johnny.
It's not right, Lisa. That's not right. Johnny is your financial security. Don't hurt Johnny.
It also reminds us that Mark, much like many of us, doesn't know what the hell is going on.
What's going on here? What's going on here?
Come on.
Wait, what are you doing?
And that once again, football is central to our identity as Americans. In fact, the amount of football scenes in this movie can only indicate that it's almost synonymous with our culture. Like all great films, The Room will constantly deviate entirely from its main plot and focus on subplots that are only ever addressed in one scene, such as Denny's confrontation with Chris R. But Wiseau wastes no time weaving this subplot into the main story and developing it gradually. Instead, like a genius, he resolves the conflict right then and there, with Johnny and Mark subduing Chris R, followed by a quick and easy shouting match.
How in the hell did you get involved with drugs? What, were you giving them to him, selling them to him? Where in the hell did you meet that man?
What kind of drugs do you take?
It's nothing like that.
What the hell is wrong with you?
And this moment here showcases how passionate Wiseau was about the message behind this scene, and about the film as a whole. Then there's this scene, where Mark and Johnny deconstruct the negative effects of domestic abuse on America.
I used to know a girl. She had a dozen guys. One of them found out about it, beat her up so bad she ended up in a hospital on Guerrero Street.
What a story, Mark.
Yeah, you can say that again.
Other seemingly meaningless moments, like the debut of Mark's shaved face during the tuxedo scene, are actually subtle indicators of who the characters are. In this case, Mark's lack of facial hair indicates that he shaved sometime between this scene and the last time we saw him. It's really well thought out. All of this stuff plays a big part in the final act of the film, with Mark's shaved face playing a key role in Lisa's horniness at Johnny's birthday party. The constant jogging and football scenes play a role in how hard Johnny and Mark hit each other during their fight. Danny's romantic interest in Lisa is another good point. Therefore, it's obvious to anybody that The Room has the most airtight script ever written. At the end of the day, the story in The Room is a character study of Johnny, Mark, and Lisa. So let's explore the symbolism behind each of their roles, and how that informs the overall message of the film. Through Lisa, we brilliantly explore one woman's descent into madness via a romantic crossroads between two men. The first sex scene between Lisa and Mark, and more specifically its location on the spiral staircase, is the perfect indicator of Lisa's indecision, because much like Lisa's heart is split between these two men, the staircase is split between two floors. Throughout the film, Lisa will go back and forth between devoted future wife and deceptive villain, another indicator of her inner conflict. At many points in the film, she takes advantage of Mark behind Johnny's back, and even spreads a false rumor to Johnny's friends that she's pregnant.
There is no baby. I told them that to make it interesting.
You what?
This level of self-sabotage is normally consistent with complete idiots, but since this was written by Tommy Wiseau, it's deep and complex. Next we have Mark. Mark is a metaphor for a good man becoming tempted, not by evil, but by knowledge of evil. Mark starts off an innocent man who gives in to temptation, as he makes love to Lisa on the staircase, unaware of the depth of the sin he has committed. But as the movie progresses, and he graduates to having sex at the top of the stairs, he becomes more aware of it, and simultaneously more comfortable with it. Several confrontations with Johnny during the story offer Mark chance after chance to come clean about what he's done.
No, I can't. Anyway, how is your sex life?
Can't talk about it?
It's only at the end, when it's cost him too much, that he tells Lisa they'll never be together, despite having been together multiple times already. Thus, he goes back to being as much a victim of Lisa as Johnny.
You don't have me. You'll never have me.
This is a clear message that you're only guilty of something as long as you're aware of it, much like the ending of Memento. On the third side of this coin is Johnny. This was perhaps the biggest mystery of them all, and the most challenging part of this review for me. The true enigma of this film is that Johnny is such a kind person that there would normally be no way he could be betrayed by those closest to him, and yet he was. And after much puzzling, after many sleepless nights of confusion and overthinking, and reading into the most minute details of the film, I came to my biggest epiphany. An epiphany that I would have never come to if the movie hadn't already spent its entire runtime beating me over the head with. Johnny is good. He is a metaphor for the presence of good people in the world, and how it influences all of our lives. Good people are giving. Good people are trusting. Good people are forgiving. But good people are also naive, and they may not always know when someone truly loves them. And this film is about a good man whose life is destroyed by bad people, which led me to another even bigger epiphany I had, despite what I just said about the last one, that while Johnny is a good man, the other characters represent the 7 deadly sins. The angry, vengeful Chris R. represents wrath. The fully aware yet apathetic Peter represents sloth. The demanding and controlling Claudette represents greed. The easily tempted Mark represents lust. The spoiled and duplicitous Lisa represents gluttony, but also lust. The imprudent Mike and Michelle represent pride, and also lust. And lastly, the lovesick Denny represents envy, and also lust.
I just like to watch you guys.
And each character played their part, either directly or indirectly, in Johnny's demise, because no matter how good you are, sometimes people do crazy things. And in the end, Johnny dies, all because he loved them, and they hurt him. And also he shot himself. Like Hathaway said, "What is love? Baby, don't hurt me. Don't hurt me no more." See? Told you. So overall, guys, The Room is a much deeper film than many may think. With so many subtle themes, hidden messages, and metaphors, people can often get lost in the breathtaking performances, beautiful directing, and intricate screenwriting.
Everybody betrayed me. I fed up with this world.
It may not receive the highest praise from critics, it may not be considered by most to be a masterpiece, and it may be a little hard for many to understand. But in the end, we all know that of all the movies that have ever been made, The Room is definitely one of them. Officially, it may receive a 0 out of 10, but it receives a 10 out of 10 in our hearts. So those are my thoughts on The Room. I hope you guys enjoyed this analysis video as much as I enjoyed making it. I hope you also understand that this was all supposed to be sarcastic. I don't actually mean it when I say this is the best movie ever made. I was only trying to do my best film bro impression because I felt it was the only way to do this review right, and I hope you guys got some laughs out of this video. But I'm curious to know your thoughts. Have you seen The Room? Do you enjoy it? And what are some of your favorite moments from the film? Let me know in the comments. Also, if you have the time, be sure to check out The Disaster Artist, both the book written by Greg Sestero, who plays Mark, and the movie adaptation starring James and Dave Franco. Both of these are really entertaining, and you can also learn a lot more about the making of The Room. As always, be sure to like this video and subscribe, follow us on all our social medias, and please support our patrons so you can get the chance to request a movie or show you'd like to see us talk about next. Thank you guys so much for watching. This is Diego for Cinemageddon Reviews, and I'll see you on the Wasteland.